Hi Axie Foxy fam. We are going to be discussing one of my most favorite class in Axie Infinity, and that's the Beast class and the Beast cards. First and foremost, I think that the Beast class is a very underused class in the past season and in the ongoing off season at the moment. My proof of that is when you check on the leaderboard, which you can see in Axie Zone, there was the last time I checked, there was only one Beast Axie in the whole of top 100. Yeah, I looked at all the Axies of the top 100. There was only one Beast Axie that's being used. If you do not think that's underused and underpowered, then I don't know what is. I think the only other class that is even more underused, it's Dawn. All right. So that's the bad thing about Beast class, I guess. But the good thing about that is that we are in the cusp, or we are about to have a balance patching. Some call it nerfing. In the next few days or weeks as we get into season 19. And because the beast class is not overused, in fact, it's underused, there's a huge chance that the beast class will first won't be touched with any nerf, and second, it will probably be even buffed. In fact, during the past few days when they were applying patches to the game, when they were applying the latest, supposedly latest version of the game, where we experienced bugs, there were some people who noticed that the beast class had a small or little buff when it comes to their HP. And as of the moment, they have returned the version of the software to the most recent working model. So where we were back with the the original Beast HP. But if that bug is any indication of the future of Beast, then I think there is a good reason to think that the Beast class is in the vicinity of getting buffed. All right. Well, if it doesn't happen, if a buff does not even happen with Beast class, it's still good. Why? Because I don't think they will be touching Beast class in terms of nerfing because it's too underpowered already. And second, there's just too much reason for the developers to nerf other classes, which in effect makes the beast class work better when the nerfs happen already. All right. So let's move on to discussing the beast class. We'll be very quick so that we won't have to spend so much time recording this video. First and foremost, um, let's have a very quick discussion of all the cards here. All right. All right. For the mouth, we have only four cards: Nutcracker, Goda, Axikis, Confident. I personally think that all of these cards are useful cards. My favorite here is Axikis. If you want to go for pure damage, if you want to go for energy manipulation, actually Goda is very amazing. Goda works like Sirius in a way that you will think twice about saving energy because Goda will just destroy it. All right. So I think they're the one and two most powerful mouth cards for Beast. The other two cards for the mouth are Nutcracker and Confident. Now, Nutcracker is one of the most prevalent used cards in the game because of the combo of double Nutcracker. But I think Confident is even better than Nutcracker. So if given a chance, I'll choose Confident over Nutcracker. But it still depends on the composition of the totality of your beast or the build of your beast. Next, let's go to the horn first. All right, for the horn, I think the horn is very interesting because you have a lot of options. But let me just start by saying that of all of these 6 horn cards for Beast, there's one card, a very popular horn card for Beasts, that you should be very careful. In fact, you should avoid altogether. And we'll get to that shortly. First, the 4 damage cards: Dual Blade, Pocky, Little Branch, and Arco. I personally think that you can use any of these 4 if you want to go for the horn, because the horn basically for the beast is the damage of the beast. It's the most powerful, the highest damage card that the beast can have. You know, so if you were searching for a horn card for the beast, and you are choosing between Dual Blade, Pocky, Little Branch, and Arco, I think you can go with any of these 4. Unless you're really striving for something like a combo, all right? Uh, Definitely Dual Blade is the best in terms of raw power, and also the best in terms of potential power because of how it works, because it can deal 250 damage on critical strikes. Now, if you are gonna use what we've talked about a while ago, Axie, then definitely Dual Blade is the better card for you. Um, but it doesn't take away the fact that it doesn't take away any, any importance or any power from Little Branch, Pocky, or Arco. In fact, I think Arco is a very powerful card because it may have the least power of all of these 4, but it has 2 things going for it. First, it has the higher defense, 50 defense. And as you know, the Beast class can use a little more tankiness, you know that? Because they're one of the easiest to kill of all the classes in Axie Infinity. So this really works for Beasts. And second, it has a very good and very easy to activate effect, which is applying speed to your Axie for 2 rounds just because you used it. All right. So in summary, I think you can go with any of these 4 cards. And if you're trying to have more utility with your beast, go for Arco. If you know that you're gonna be using bugs, definitely go for Pocky. If for Little Branch, there's a very unique use case for Little Branch because apparently, as confirmed by Kairu, one of the most popular top player games in Axie Infinity, Little Branch has a very has a misleading description. It actually the correct description should be that the crit chance for Little Branch goes up by 20% if you combo it with 2 plant cards. All right. So that means that Little Branch is a very good card, most especially if you're using it on a plant. And as you know, um, it's very prevalent these days, and it's very wise these days for you to put like different class cards to a different body of an Axie. All right. So Little Branch works with the plant. It also works for a beast. All right. But still, I think these 4 are interchangeable. It just uh, you just have to look at the totality of your comp. Like, what do you have in your current in your current axes? Say, for example, do you have bugs in your axie in your team? Definitely prioritize Pocky. Do you have uh, Death Mark or Axie Kiss on your beast? Then definitely prioritize Dual Blade. But as we know, budget is a very huge factor in the game, and if the prices are so different, then go ahead, choose the cheapest Axie with any of these cards. All right. Now, I mentioned a while ago that there's one card that you have to be very careful using. All right, and that is Imp. Imp is a very popular card because of the Rimp combo or the Ronin Imp combo. Here's the thing. I think Imp works well. However, I think Imp only works well with Ronin, and that is very dangerous, especially for people that are planning to breed. Why? Because sometimes Ronin doesn't get transferred to the offspring with the imp. So if you have imp and you have a different back card, then you've just created an axis that's probably not as useful. So for me, especially as a breeder, I would stay away from imp. Now, as for people who are not breeding and who are only playing axes, I would also try to stay away from imp because it's very combo reliant. What do I mean by that? As you know, when you play Axie, you are in the mercy of the card draws. And your if your luck is not on your side, for example, you draw two imps and then no Ronin, there's just no way for you to utilize imp because imp by itself is very useless. It it has only 70 power and 20 defense compared to the other cards. Look at them, right? And apart from that, the effect gives you free energy upon critical, but you don't get critical a lot. So it will work with Ronin, definitely. That's a sure crit. It will work with Axie Kiss. But if you choose between Imp and Dual Blade, come on, seriously? It will work with Confident because Confident gives you morale, but still it's not sure. I think you can get sure crit after 3 times casting casting confident or self rally, which is very tricky and such a hassle just for imp to work, don't you think? All right. In fact, I will choose it over this defense card, Mary or Mary, right? Mary Legion. Um, for Mary, I would stay away from it as well. It's nice if you will use it with other axes that will have Mary. It's good because it will activate its defense of additional 20% shield when you play it in a chain. In a chain, meaning when you're using Mary on your axie, you should also cast Mary. Oh, not really Mary. You should cast another beast card on your other axes. All right. It doesn't have to be Mary, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, based on the description, it doesn't have to be Mary that you're casting. It can be any other beast card. Well, you usually find beast cards on your other axis anyway. So Mary may work. All right. So I would definitely choose Mary over Imp. All right. What do you guys think? That's for the horn. Now let's go to the back. The back is very uh, varied and I like it. Unlike the horn, which is very like pure damage, the back is very varied. They're very different from each other. Now, so of all six, you have here another zero cost card, which is Hero. We will. I think I'll discuss more about the zero cost cards and comps, choosing a comp later or on a separate video. But let's go one by one. Ronin works well with zero cost cards because it needs two other cards for it to function. So if you cast Ronin with Cottontail, so what happens is you guarantee critical hit and then you get 2 energy from the 2 Cottontails. Not bad, right? So that's good. Ronin will work with um, Confident because Confident is a zero cost card and you don't have to pay for it. You don't have to spend energy so that Ronin can function. So Ronin is good. So the Ronin Imp combo works well. Definitely Ronin will go with Imp, but of the two, Ronin is the better card. Okay, Ronin, because Ronin can work well with any other card, unlike Imp. Yeah, I hate Imp that much that we're still talking about it. Anyway, so Ronin is good. Try to get Imp with it, or at least one zero cost card. Remember that. Get Ronin with Imp or another or a zero cost card in your build. Talking about zero cost card, but definitely you can't use it with Ronin because they're the same back card, or they're the same parts of an Axie. Um, it's Hero. I think it's a very good card. See, it's a zero cost. It gives you 50 damage, and it gives you a chance to draw a card. Given that the draw card for Hero doesn't happen a lot. Why? Because it only activates if you're attacking an aquatic Axie, Bird Axie, or Dawn Axie. First and foremost, who uses Dawn Axie? Second, how can you even attack a aqua and a bird? I mean, there will be chances definitely, but most probably that's gonna be a very suicidal already uh, matchup already. Not unless you still have your tank with you, all right. But still, even if you remove the utility aspect of Hero, I personally think that Hero is a very good card in itself. It's zero cost and gives you 50 damage. The draw card is just a bonus. You don't even have to think about it. If you are able to draw a card, amazing. If not, doesn't really matter. Now, for the other two back cards, I like these two a lot. I think they're twins. Twins that you have to choose between the two. Um, why? Because they both get activated when you're in last stand. But I think one is better than the other. Please let me know which do you think is better. Which do you prefer to be? Which do you consider to be better? Jaguar or Risky Beast? I'll tell you what I think. I think Jaguar works better than Risky Beast. Why? Because Jaguar, it makes you attack first um, when you're already in last stand. And that's very important. Why? Because beasts are naturally slower than most axes, all right? Um, so, say for example, we're in a scenario wherein your axis is already hit with the last hit of your opponent, and then you enter last stand. So you go into the next round that your axie, your beast is already in last stand. So you have like 4 last stand ticks. All right. So the first scenario is you have Jaguar with you. The other scenario is you have Risky Beast with you. This is why I think Jaguar is better. Why? Because in that second round, you can cast all the cards that you want. You can cast 2 Risky Beasts and then 2 other cards just so that you can maximize the last stand ticks. But here's the thing. What if you're faced with an Aqua? What if you're faced with a Bird? What if you're faced with a Dusk? What if you're faced with a Reptile that has slowed you, which makes you slower than the Reptile? Or what if you're faced with another beast who's actually faster than you? So it doesn't really matter because they will hit you first, which will cause you to deplete all your last stand and cause you to uh, waste a lot of your cards and energy just because you tried to attack because when you're not even sure if you're gonna be able to hit your opponent. That is where Jaguar's strengths come in because it does not matter how fast the opponent actually is. If you are in last stand as you enter the next round, you are sure to attack first. So this is one combo that I have personally seen myself. I have asked one person on Twitter to show this combo, and it actually worked. What happened is you enter last stand, and the next time, what they did was they cast Axie, they cast Dual Blade, and then they cast Jaguar, and then they cast another card. I think I can't remember the other card, but it doesn't really matter. Why? Because after three cards, the opponent would have already died. How? Um, Even if you put Jaguar at the end of your combo, it's still active. It's still activated. So you still go first. Imagine going first against any of those quick or fast axes. All right. So what happens is you cast Axie Kiss, hitting the opponent, and gives the opponent lethal. Lethal as a debuff makes the opponent receive critical hit on the next attack. So you give it lethal, you attack it, you give it, and then you give it lethal, and then dual blade comes in next, which it's activated, giving it 250% damage. I am not sure what kind of Axie would still survive after that. If it does, the third card is Jaguar. All right, so I think Jaguar is definitely better than Risky Beast, but it doesn't really matter. If, um, as you know, again, price is a very important thing in Axie Infinity. If you're choosing between two Axies in the marketplace, and then Risky Beast is way cheaper than Jaguar, a Jaguar Beast, then go ahead, get Risky Beast. And you know, but I just think that Jaguar is a better clutch play card. Okay. Now, the next two cards, um, I would not use it for beasts personally. Timber, I think, may work on fast axes because it only gets activated when you already used it and if you hit a plant target. In all fairness to Timber, though, the defense is already high. 100 is a huge defense already, and then you still have 50 attack. But adding more shield is, makes it even like a lot useful. But if you put it in a plant, it won't work. I Correct me if I'm wrong. It won't work because a plant is so slow that the shield won't be activated yet because it hasn't casted Timber. So I think this will work better for comps where they are using really fast axes. Say for example, double aqua frontliners. They may be benefiting if they have Timber and they hit a plant, and then when the opponent attacks them, they have double or they have the added shield already because they have already used Timber. But still, I use beasts as a class as an attacker slash utility, not really as a defender. At least not yet, unless they buff beasts to be a little more bulky. Now, Furball is a very unique card. I would not use it on my beasts because it's very tricky. It's a double-edged sword. It works well only with poison because it's the only card in the game that has three times uh, that can waste 3 turns. So it will cause your opponent to bleed from all the poisons that you have given them. So I think Furball will work. In fact, I think Furball is very expensive if you place it in the right comp and the right axie. But in the usual build for beasts, I would not use it. Why? Because beasts somehow not really rely, but somehow they shine because of their ability to last stand a lot. And when you're in last stand, you don't really want to go use Furball, right? Because you have only like 4 ticks. Would you want to use your 3 ticks in your Furball? I don't think so. So use Furball uh, when you're creating a poison comp. If not, stay away from it. Next, last, the tail. All right, the tail. I like the tail as well because it's very varied. First, you have Cottontail. Cottontail is one of the only three cards in the game that can give you energy for free. All right, and I think that's really powerful. I know that Elijah or Axie on the Moon, one of the most popular content creators and influencers in the Axie Infinity community, said that Cottontail doesn't fit in the current meta in S18, and I think he's right. I believe him. Like I watch a lot of his videos, um, but it doesn't take away the fact that Cottontail is a very useful card when you use it properly. If you create a good build with it. Um, I'll just compare it with the two other cards that is similar to what it does. Nemo and Disguise. Nemo and Disguise, they're better. I'm doing air quotes here if you can see me on the screen. Nemo and Disguise or Leaf Bug are better cards compared to Cottontail because they are cards that have attack and or defense with them. So they're free energy, but they also have attack and or defense. 30-0 for Nemo, 20-20 for Leaf Bug, plus the free energy. However, one thing about those two cards is that for one thing is that they require you to use another card with it. Second, they have to hit the enemy first for it to be activated. That is where Cottontail shines because Cottontail it doesn't really care if if the target is alive or not, if it has died already, if it's in last stand already, it doesn't care. It will just cast it. Okay, so that's the good thing about Cottontail. In fact, you can use it to end the last stand of your opponent. Say for example, I'm not sure if you have experienced it, but I have experienced it already. Say for example, you are faced with an opponent that has one last stand tick, and it's clutch. It's the final attack phase already. In that the next round will already decide who wins or not. But you are supposed to attack first. What do you do? If you have Cottontail, you can cast Cottontail. It will cause the last stand tick of the opponent to go to end, and then the next cards of your beast can now target the next Axie, which makes, if you think about it, it targeted two axes in one, right? That is the power of Cottontail. And I do not think that was discussed by Elijah. I hope if this video even gets to him, um, he can clarify that and confirm that we have a good case for Cottontail. Enough about Cottontail. Let's move on to Rice. I think Rice is a very good card. It steals energy. It is like Sirius. It steals energy, it causes damage, and it requires you to combo with another card. Now, if you use Rice really well, especially with a zero cost card like not Cottontail because they're both tails, but if you use it with Hair or if you use it with Confident, you will be stealing energy from your opponent by just using Rice. And that's huge. You're stealing. You're not just destroying, you're stealing. In fact, if you even use it with Goda, so you destroyed and you steal. You've stolen energy. And correct me if I'm wrong, that's two energy lost from your opponent already. Please let me know if I understand correctly. I haven't personally used Rice Goda myself. Now, on to the next cards. These three cards are damage cards, damage tail cards. And I think they're not really interchangeable. But if you're strapped for budget, yes, definitely choose whichever of the three. But for me, the most powerful card of all these three, in fact, of all these six, in fact, one of the most powerful tail cards in the game, it's hair. So powerful that you can even see it in birds, which will make your bird even more useful and even more expensive. In fact, I personally am trying to find birds that have uh, hair in their recessives, just so that I can, hope to get a hair bird one day. So to me, hair is definitely the number one card here. So what does it do? It has 120 damage, 30 defense, but the bread and butter of hair is the drawing of a card. So if you use it first, if you use it as the first attacker of the round, it can actually give you a, a new card. Now here's the thing: if if you don't attack first, then does hair already become useless? Not really, because it is a very good damage in itself. It is 120 30. So even if you remove the effect of hair, it's really powerful already. The draw card is just a very good bonus. All right. Okay. But if you're really strapped for cash, Shiba is a good option as well. Um, I haven't seen this being used a lot. Apply morale to your team for 2 rounds if it attacks in last stand. All right. I think this will work well with confident builds because of how it relies on last stand. I think it is such unfortunate card just because the morale system in the game is still a little. It needs a lot of like looking at. I think Jiho has already mentioned that they are looking into it already. But as of the moment, morale is something that you can't rely on that much. When you give morale to your Axie, it doesn't really crit a lot more often. So that's where the problem lies with Shiba. However, even if you remove the effect of Chiba, it's a good card in itself. It's 115 over 40. That's almost as good as hair. A little more defense. Alright. Now the third card, if you really are strapped for cash, especially because Nutcracker Tail or Nut Throw is a very prevalent card, beast card tail in the game because of the combo. I think you can go with Nutcracker anyway. But if you have the option, definitely number one for me is hair. Number two is Shiba. Number three, I would even go with Rice or Nutcracker. And then if I still don't have a zero cost card in my comp, I'll get Cottontail. Now, how about Gerbil? I think Gerbil is not supposed to be a beast card for a beast class. I think it will work well with other classes, because beasts are supposed to be tank killers or plant killers. So why would you skip the closest target, right? If you're not gonna skip the closest target, then why would you need Gerbil, right? So Gerbil will work well with a different class, much like how Shrimp works or Shrimpinator works, but definitely not for a beast class. So stay away from it. All right, now that we're done discussing all of the beast cards, let's discuss some of the common comps of beasts and some comps that you may not have even heard of. Let's discuss the comps and then let's discuss what are the good side, bad side of these comps. All right.